As the use of BJT as an amplifier or in active region, we start by we remind again the DC analysis. Some rules about the DC analysis. When it comes to the DC analysis, it's important to know that capacitors in the circuit uh, behave in DC analysis. Capacitors behave like open circuit. So what that means is that if you've got a source voltage going through a source resistance and a capacitor before an amplification circuit of some sort with two base, for instance, two base resistors, RB2 and RC, for instance, and RE. Maybe there's a capacitor again here, for instance. If you've got a scenario like that, and maybe another capacitor there, capacitors, when doing DC analysis, will behave like open circuit, meaning you can cut the circuit there, you can cut the circuit there, and cut the circuit there. So you can open the circuit here, which makes it as if the capacitor doesn't exist, as if that whole part, there could be a load resistor that doesn't exist, so it's cut out, and that side is cut out. So you end up remaining with RB2, RB1 only, because the capacitor is behaving like an open circuit, right? That's the point I'm trying to make here. And it's a very important point, because when you do this analysis, you do not consider the impact of the cap. Okay, so then you do your DC analysis, meaning you get your IB, you got your IRB2, you get your IRB1 if need be, by applying Kirchhoff's current law there. There are many methods. I'll show you two methods, the long method as well as the short method. You get IC, you get IE, you get the different voltages, VC, VRC, you can get VE, which is the emitter voltage, you can get V at that point, VB, etc. But when you do your DC analysis, you get abstraction of the capacitor will behave like open circuit. Why actually? Because under DC, we know that the reactance of a capacitor is X is 1 over 2 pi Fc. So at DC, we know that the frequency is of 0 Hz, because at DC, a DC signal is a signal that repeats itself at the infinity. So it has got a period of infinity, because the period is the time after which a signal repeats itself. So DC never repeats itself. That means it has got a period of infinite, which makes it frequency 1 over the period, which is 1 over infinite, which is 0 Hertz. So if you go with the fact that the frequency is 0 Hertz, if you go back to the impedance of the capacitor, the reactance of the capacitor in this case will be 1 over 0, which will be infinite. And the reactance of infinite ohms, meaning an open circuit. Agree, that's the idea. Very important. But now, some quick DC analysis techniques when you've got a voltage divider network like this one. In reality, I'll show you the long way as well as the short format. The short format is what you're going to use most of times. It is actually based on Thevenin to Norton conversion, but sometimes we do a bit of abstraction of that for the sake of the subject, because some of you haven't done electrical engineering 2 and done Thevenin and Norton, so that's a concept. So, but we still give you that method because it's shorter. So what we do is you can convert that network there into a single VB computed by voltage divider, and you've got a combination resistor RB, which is normally considered to be RB1 in parallel of RB2 going into the resistor, in the transistor, sorry. You've got your RE, if any, you've got ground, you've got RC, and you've got VCC. And this becomes more or less easy to analyze from there, because we basically are familiar with such type of transistor circuit. And as I said, this comes from a Thevenin to Norton, Norton to Thevenin transformation. The VB here is calculated by voltage divider, and that gives is obtained as VCC times the lower resistor, of course, RB1 in this case, over the sum of the two resistances, RB1 plus RB2. That's how you would normally get VB. And then you can say IB is flowing there, and you can carry on, get your IB through the analysis of Kirchhoff's voltage law in that loop, and which dictate that VB is RBB IB plus VBE, which is 0.7, plus RE IE. IE being equal to IB times beta plus 1, as you know. Okay, and you can work out your IB and get your IC, which will be beta times IB, get your IE, which will be IB plus IC. And once you've got all the currents, it becomes very easy to work out the different voltages. Okay, that's pure DC analysis. The long way, which is for someone who doesn't know Thevenin and Norton and doesn't want to use this, it's important to show you this because it boosts your DC analysis skills, would have been to have RB1, you've got RB2, you've got your transistor there, you've got RC, you've got VCC, you've got RE, for instance, then you've got ground. You'd have said, okay, there will be a current flowing there, which will be IRB1. There will be a current flowing through this second resistor. That current will arrive at this node, and it will split between IRB2 as well as IB. So if you apply Kirchhoff's voltage law at that point B, you apply not voltage but current, Kirchhoff's current law, which says the sum of current going into the node is equal to the sum of current going out of the node. We can see that IRB1 is going into the node B, it's the only one, should be equal to IRB2, which is going out, as well as plus IB, which is also going out. Sum of current going into the node is equal to sum of current going out of the node. So you keep that equation. Then you also know that by voltage divider rule, the voltage at that point, by voltage divider rule in that network there, in that if you apply Kirchhoff's voltage law or voltage divider rule there, you get voltage at that point B to be equal to VCC, which is on top, times RB2. Well, you didn't do, sorry, my bad. You didn't do voltage divider there because you don't know how much resistance is part of that. Because that RB2 at the end of the day is in parallel with whatever goes this way. So at that note, we just stick with that first equation. The other equation I wanted to rather say is, if you apply Kirchhoff's voltage law instead, in that loop, you get that VCC is definitely equal to RB1 times IRB1 plus RB2 times IRB2. Because current flowing there times that resistor gives the voltage drop there. The current flowing here plus times that resistor gives the voltage drop there. The sum of this voltage drop plus the other one will give you VCC basically. You agree? So that's what I'm trying to say. The voltage drop across RB1 plus the voltage drop across RB2 gives VCC. So yeah, that will be your equation 2. Because remember, we are chasing after IB. So of course, what you can do now is you can replace IRB1 by its value in here already. So one equation, second equation. Now remember, you've got how many unknowns here? You've got, you know, RB1, you know RB1, RB2. You don't know IRB1, you don't know IRB2, you don't know IB. So we've got 2 equations, 3 unknowns. So we need a third equation normally to solve this problem. The third equation has to do with this loop here. And if you apply Kirchhoff's voltage law in that loop as well, you'll see that RB2 times IRB2, which is the voltage drop there, should be equal to VBE plus REIE. But of course, IE will look like a fourth unknown, but you can convert that into IB times beta plus 1 to make it a single unknown because we know beta. So now you've got a third equation. So if you were to solve this system of 3 equations with 3 unknowns, IRB2, IB, IB and IRB1, you can get IB. So that's the long way. which requires solving three simultaneous equations with three unknowns. So that is an alternative though, but I will highly encourage for time's sake to use the other method we mentioned here, where you start by getting the equivalent RBB, RBB, the equivalent Thevenin to Norton conversion equivalent resistance of RB1 and RB2, which is RB1 in parallel with RB2. And then you work out VD using voltage divider rule, and you carry on. We've done most of this in class, and for those coming next semester who will be watching this video, we're still gonna do this in class, but this makes sense, I hope. Okay, all right, that's about DC analysis. Now, what about the AC analysis? What about the AC analysis of a BJT used in active mode, meaning as an amplifier?